Every financial system knows the problem. They just protect confidence first. Welcome to Wealixon, where history isn't just remembered, it's used to understand how money, power, and systems quietly break. Every financial system claims it exists to solve problems: inflation, debt, banking risk, economic instability. But applied financial history reveals a truth most people never notice. Financial systems are not designed to solve problems first. They are designed to protect confidence first. Problem solving comes later, if it comes at all. Confidence is the invisible fuel of modern economies. Money works because people believe it will be accepted tomorrow. Banks function because depositors believe withdrawals will be honored. Markets operate because participants believe prices are meaningful. Once confidence breaks, systems don't slowly adjust. They freeze, payments stop, credit disappears, trade collapses. That is why confidence becomes sacred. And this behavior is not corruption, it is structural. The moment leaders realize that truth can destabilize confidence, truth becomes negotiable. History shows this pattern clearly. Early monetary systems were brutally honest. If a state ran out of gold or silver, it ran out of money. If it overspent, it failed. Truth enforced discipline, but discipline limits power. As societies grew larger, wars more expensive, and promises more ambitious, honesty became dangerous, because honesty forced immediate pain, and immediate pain threatens authority. The Roman Empire learned this lesson early. When Rome spent more than it could tax or conquer, it didn't announce insolvency. It debased its currency. Coins contained less metal, face value remained the same, confidence stayed intact, the system kept functioning. The cost was invisible but permanent. Purchasing power declined slowly, trust eroded quietly. Rome didn't collapse suddenly. It survived by protecting confidence first. This logic never disappeared. It only became more sophisticated. In medieval Europe, monarchs faced constant fiscal pressure. Default meant rebellion. Rebellion meant execution. So rulers borrowed, diluted, delayed. Failure was never admitted. It was managed. Modern financial systems refine this approach further. They don't debase coins. They manage narratives. Inflation isn't failure. It's temporary pressure. Debt isn't dangerous. It's sustainable. Banking stress isn't systemic. It's contained. These phrases are not accidental. They are confidence preservation tools. Applied financial history shows that the most important phase is not denial. It is reassurance. When systems acknowledge something is wrong, but frame it as harmless, enough truth to appear transparent, not enough to cause reaction. Consider inflation. Historically, inflation signaled that promises exceeded resources, but modern systems no longer treat inflation as a warning. They redefine it. Certain costs are excluded, averages smooth spikes, methodologies evolve. The goal is not deception. The goal is confidence stability. Because a public that fully understands purchasing power, erosion demands change, and change threatens control. The same pattern appears with debt. Governments rarely default openly anymore. They extend maturities, restructure obligations, inflate debt away slowly. Debt doesn't disappear, it dissolves. Reality is delayed, confidence survives. At some point, systems enter what history calls the management phase. This is when solving the problem becomes secondary. The priority becomes preventing panic. Interest rates stop signaling risk. Liquidity stops being temporary. Emergency measures become permanent policy. The system no longer corrects, it stabilizes. Ironically, this is when systems appear strongest. Markets are calm. Volatility is low. Confidence looks intact. History warns us here. Maximum calm often precedes maximum fragility. Why does this strategy work for so long? Because people tolerate gradual loss better than sudden shock. Living standards erode slowly. Opportunities narrow quietly. Costs rise incrementally. There's no single moment to resist. This is not conspiracy. It is human psychology. Japan provides one of the clearest modern examples. After its asset bubble burst in the early 1990s, Japan faced massive insolvency. Banks were effectively bankrupt. Debt exploded. Growth collapsed. Japan could have forced a reset. Instead, it protected confidence. Banks were supported quietly. Losses were absorbed slowly. Debt expanded indefinitely. The result was not collapse. It was stagnation. Reality was delayed permanently. The system survived. Momentum didn't. Western economies followed a similar path after 2008. Collapse was avoided through unprecedented intervention. Banks were rescued. Markets stabilized. Interest rates suppressed. The system didn't reset. It adapted. Failure was transformed into stability. This is why modern economies feel functional but strained. Growth exists, but feels hollow. Employment exists, but feels insecure. Stability exists, but feels fragile. These are not contradictions. They are outcomes of confidence-first design. Eventually, however, confidence management reaches its limit, not because leaders choose honesty, but because constraints become unavoidable. Inflation accelerates, debt confidence weakens, capital shifts direction. At that point, reality reasserts itself rapidly, and people say, no one saw this coming. But applied financial history disagrees. The signals were visible, they were managed away. Understanding this pattern changes how you see crises. You stop asking, why did this happen? You start asking, how long was confidence being protected? That question reveals more than any forecast. This doesn't mean protecting confidence is always wrong. Immediate collapse can be catastrophic. Confidence management can buy time. But confidence without correction is not stability. It is borrowed time. And borrowed time always charges interest. Every system that protects confidence too long eventually pays the price. In lower growth, in reduced opportunity, in weakened trust. When trust finally breaks, collapse feels sudden, even though it was decades in the making. Applied financial history isn't pessimism. It is realism. It shows that systems don't fail when panic begins. They fail when reality no longer fits the story being told. Panic comes later. If you understand this, you stop chasing headlines. You stop reacting to events. You start watching behavior, because behavior always reveals truth before narratives are forced to change. If you want to understand money and power beyond headlines, subscribe to Wealixon.